main sale, and I was unsuccessful getting a ticket, as most people were. So it looks like Burning Man here. And I have a rant to get off my chest.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. So there is this chain of gyms called Lifetime Fitness. They're very high end. They're really, really nice. And the current price is $199 a month. And I used to go when I lived closer to their Vegas gym. And then when I moved further away, it wasn't worth it to me to go anymore. So they said, well, you can pay $20 a month and that will like keep your status as a original member. So you'll like be locked in at this rate, and any money that this $20 a month that you're paying, you can accrue as lifetime bucks and spend them in the gym. Okay. So I had been doing this since 2015. And so I was finally ready to come back. In fact, this happened like 2 months ago. And I went back wanting to just go for the day and pay with my lifetime bucks. And they said, all your lifetime bucks have expired. And this is like hundreds of dollars worth, maybe even over 1,000 by now. And they let me in for free that day, but said I should talk to somebody about renewing my status. And so I go back in today, and they verified that I had been paying this $20 a month since 2015, and that they don't even have lifetime bucks anymore. So between not having them anymore and me not using them for a long time, whatever the reason, they all vanished. So in fact, let's do some math real quick here. I had, according to my math, $1,680 worth of lifetime bucks.
Let's see that one more time.
1,680.
Wow.
So, boop, they just vanish. So I go there and say, okay, they said we can't give you your lifetime bucks back because there are no lifetime bucks anymore. We don't, it's just not, we don't have that program anymore. And I said, well, as long as you can make things right somehow, I'm willing to deal. And so she looks at the computer, and after a few minutes, she says, we'll keep you at your initial rate, which is only $20 cheaper than the regular rate, and we'll give you April for free. And like I said, they took away some $1,700 worth, and they only offered me one free month, which is worth about $200. So I was pretty insulted at the offer, and I said, I'll pass. So I left it off, and all this happened today. So that was
all today? I'd be pretty mad too.
Yeah, so I might write to their corporate office and complain to them. But yeah, so there is my grievance, my gripe, my rant against Lifetime Fitness. Now, I will say that it's a really nice place. They attract a pretty affluent crowd. There are very, very hot people there of both sexes, tons of eye candy, especially the one in Vegas. I have a feeling it's probably not a big stretch to think that there's probably a lot of strippers and women in that kind of business that go there.
I thought you were going to say celebrities. Here I am thinking you're going to say like Las Vegas celebrities or something. Britney Spears or something like that. I almost
never noticed celebrities. Like one time I was standing in line in a bathroom right behind Lou Diamond Phillips. And I get back to my table and my friend said, Mike, what did Lou Diamond Phillips say? And I said, how would I know? I've never seen him in my life. And she said, you were just standing behind him in line for 10 minutes. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I only notice celebrities if it's like really obvious.
I met Carrot Top. I ran into Carrot Top.
I saw him.
You did?
But he is so easily identifiable.
Yeah.
But one time this was like 6 months ago, as I was eating lunch somewhere downtown Summerlin, and he walked right by my table. And I asked the waitress when she came back, and I said, was that Carrot Top? And she said, yeah, he comes here all the time, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So if you want to go see Carrot Top, go to this restaurant.
Right. Which is I forgot the name of it. It's called the Stadium something by Wolfgang Puck in downtown Summerlin.
Nice. Downtown Summerlin, it's just a nice place to go to, period.
Yep, I'm not into shopping, but if I must shop, it's not bad.
So do you want to start off with some trivia, and then we'll go to viewer questions, which, by the way, if you guys have a question, please put it in the chat and we will get to it in the order it was received.
Yeah, so today's topic is Peanuts trivia, as in the comic strip.
That's going to be a fun one.
So question number 1 is, how shall I phrase this? What was the original name of the comic strip? It was not originally called Peanuts. Charles Schulz had a different comic strip that came before it that did have Charlie Brown and some of the same characters in it. But the, what word should I use? Like his publicist, when trying to pitch it, the newspapers wanted a shorter 4-panel comic strip as opposed to like the really big one that was kind of like a Calvin and Hobbes Sunday strip that he had before. So anyway, what was the original name? You guys percolate on that, and let's hear the very first question from the Peanut Gallery.
Sounds good. So yes, if you guys know the answer to that, please put it in the chat. My answer to that would be either walnuts or it would be Snoopy. Because wasn't Peanuts the little bird that was Snoopy's friend?
No, that was Woodstock.
Oh, was that Woodstock? Okay. Okay, so here is a gambling question. We'll have much better luck with these gambling questions than peanut questions. Paul Andrews says, I think variable payout slots are bad for the general slot playing public. For every AP who wins, several regular players lose. Slot players want mindless fun. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. They are definitely bad for the recreational player who just wants to play what looks appealing to him and doesn't want to understand the rules. And when a variable state game is in a good state, they just want a little bit of fun. So absolutely, variable state slots are taking money from recreational players and giving them to APs. If I ran a casino, I would not be crazy about putting in a lot of variable state slot machines, but I wouldn't totally rule out the idea because I know that some players like them. And if they made the casino more money, I would certainly take that into consideration into my decision. But as somebody who designs a lot of slots, I used to be really kind of against designing them because for the same reason you just said, that they take money away from recreational players and give them to APs. Now, as an AP, I like that. But as somebody who looks out for recreational players too, I don't. So so I think you understand my position there, and thanks for the question.
And you brought up a good point too. So if you owned a casino, what would the name of that casino be, and what would be one of its unique features?
It would be a lot like our own South Point. It would have good rules on everything.
Okay.
It would be nice and clean. It would be affordable. It would cater to a local's audience. Free parking, no resort fees. Everything would be very simple. The point reward system would be very simple. There would not be a lot of double point days and stuff like that. It would be really, everything would be easy to understand. And I'm not sure what I would call it. There used to be an abandoned casino downtown called the Trolley Stop. I would love to bring that back, but and maybe call it the same thing. But so no name, but you just heard my business philosophy of my casino idea. Heather, are you there? I seem to have lost Heather. Can you guys tell me if you can hear me in the chat? Somebody say something in the chat. Somebody say something. The last comment that I got, I see, is from Saketh Ram at 310. Okay, thank you for that acknowledgement, Saketh. I'm just going to keep going on here and hope Heather comes back, so I can see the questions myself. So Heather kind of screens them a little bit, which I'm not in the luxury to do. Okay, Paul asks about the casino Circa, whether they would have more favorable rules. They're owned by the same guy, Derek Stevens, who has the Golden Gate and the D. Now, the Golden Gate has pretty good rules. The D is just average. When I have a review of the Circa on Wizard of Vegas, and as I recall, I found their rules basically average. So that's about as far as I can take that one. So Paul also asks, in three-card poker, is it ever worth to alter basic strategy if you can see other players' cards, or wait until other players make a decision? Probably almost never. I think that James Grosjean might address this in his book, but there's very little value in looking at the other players' cards, and this goes for Ultimate Texas Hold'em as well. And frankly, I think that what little advantage there is in doing, I think that that's giving the player rope to hang himself. I think the player will not use the information that he sees in other players' cards correctly, and I think he might make bad calculations with it. So my short advice there is I would just not bother with that. Okay, next question. Yes Notes asks, hi Michael, have you ever made any progress with your Cashman bingo system research? Yes, I have a whole page about that on my website. I also have a video about it on YouTube, and I've closed the file on that. But as I recall, what I said was that you look at the bingo card that the last player left it in, and look at all the money you can win where you're one coin away from a bingo. So let's say that you're one away in one line, and you add up all that money, and it adds up to, say, $25. And let's say the cost of a bet is 75 cents. So you would take the money on the card divided by the bet amount, which in this case is 33.33. And I think that what my website says is that you want to look for a multiple of 70 or more. I'm not exactly positive it's 70, but that was the gist of my advice. And right now, in fact, right before this live stream, right now I'm working on a game called Cash Falls, and I'm trying to work out a strategy for that game. So I'm going to try to answer these questions fast because I see there's a lot of them. Ann Larson, hi Ann, says, hi guys, Mike, do you have a favorite trivia question you like to ask people that stumps most people? Oh, well, I love trivia questions that make people say, damn, I should have known that. Mikey made me feel stupid. Or ones where people say, oh, I know that's in my head somewhere, I just can't pull it out. Things like that. And like, for example, if someone from England was over here, I might ask them to name the four Beatles, or to name or to name the first 10 people in the line of succession to the British crown. And these kind of questions usually get them. So I try to make them feel a little bit embarrassed. But what's a good particular question right off? Well, here's one that I like. This one is just a fun one, but to name the 5 characters in the Village People. That's the kind of fun question that I like. Okay, Ted. Yes, Ted got my trivia question right with Little Folks. So that was the predecessor to Peanuts, and it was like a big, like full-page comic strip that had a lot of panels, and it was more of a story. But again, Charles Schultz's agent, or whatever you want to call him, when he pitched it to the newspapers, they wanted something smaller, and they didn't like the name Little Folks because there was already a comic strip or a TV show called Little Abner. So they made him change it, and then they just changed it without Charles Schultz's consent to Peanuts. And Charles Schultz has always hated that name, Peanuts. And why Peanuts, you ask? Because at the time, the Howdy Doody Show was popular, and the Howdy Doody Show had the Peanut Gallery, which you guys are in. So there we go. That's the answer to that one. Here is the next Peanuts trivia question. True or false? Charlie Brown is bald. You guys chew on that, and let's go to the next gambling question. I see Yes Notes also got little folks right. So Ryan Martinez says, speaking of the South Point, they seem to have great offerings for the player, but only 2 times odds. Any idea why? That is a good point. I can't speak for the South Point, but they may have said, we get really sharp players at the South Point, which probably is true. And we don't make any money on the odds, and they're not making the sucker bets in the same percentages like they get on the strip. So they might say that they just need to stick at 2 times odds to make money. That's just my theory. Again, I can't speak for them. Next question. A casino in California charges a $1 fee for regular play and another $1 fee for side bets per hand. Yeah, a lot of the casinos in the LA area have a fee to play. And the way it's calculated is it's 1% of the bet rounded up. So if you only want to bet $5, you have to pay a $1 fee to make that bet, which is ridiculous. Now, maybe if you're betting $100, maybe it's not going to hurt so much, but that's just the way it is in the LA area. I just wouldn't play there if that was the policy. Now, I believe it's the Commerce Casino does not charge a commission, or the banking organization pays it. Maybe if one of you guys could confirm or deny that, that would be a good thing. But as a player, that would be a deal breaker for me. I wouldn't play it, and I either wouldn't gamble at all, or I would go to one of the Indian casinos like the San Manuel and play where they don't charge commissions. Okay, yes. Okay. Thanks for everyone who verified that they could hear me. Okay. What's a good casino near the Bay Area for Ultimate Texas Hold'em? To be honest, I don't know. I don't know the Bay Area that well. I do know there's a big casino in Placerville. I don't remember the name of it, but it's probably that one. Okay. San Francisco Bay asks, any lawsuits requiring casinos to allow card counters to play like everywhere else? That is the law in New Jersey, unless it's been changed, and I think I would have heard about it if it had. But no, card count, they cannot bar you from playing for card counting in New Jersey, but they can change the rules on you. And what they usually do is they will say to someone who they suspect of card counting, and they will say, the first bet you make at the beginning of every shoe, you've got to stick with throughout the entire shoe. And card counters will not play with that restriction. And that accomplishes the same thing. It chases them off. Okay. So have you ever received any heat from casinos because of your work? The short answer is no. The people who work in the casinos are really nice and respectful of me. And it's happened many times where I'm just playing because I have a friend from out of town and I'm just playing something low stakes for fun. And the table games manager will come out and shake my hand and said, I recognize you. Just wanted to say hi. I love your website. I love your work. And that's really nice of them. I get out in real life, face to face, I get more compliments from people on the casino side of the table than the players. And you might think that they would be angry that I'm trying to teach people to gamble better, but they're not. They're the ones that often have gambling questions, much more so than the players do. And they use my site to get these answers probably more than the players do. But my philosophy is I take no side in the casinos versus advantage player fight. Maybe fight's not the right word. In that the cat and mouse game. Game is a better word. As long as I'm here to teach people, and as long as people are absorbing the truthful information that I provide to the world, then that makes me happy. Yeah, good question. And okay. Okay, Eric Tang asks if offered a 20% loss rebate playing blackjack, what is the optimum time to stop when I'm ahead? So I get asked this a fair bit. Loss rebates are great for the player. My strategy with loss rebates is to shoot for the moon or go bust trying. For example, you might bring $5,000 to the table, try to quickly run that up to $50,000 or go bust trying. The main things is you want to limit your play and shoot for a high goal. Now, of course, the casinos don't like that. They would rather give a loss rebate to somebody who sits there and gives them a good amount of time. So you're going to have to balance that strategy with what looks good. One could probably talk about this all day, but I would definitely try to feel the casino out. Like if they seem like they're not happy with how much time you played, then give them more play. And it's a balancing act. So that's my quick answer to that one. Okay. Yes Notes asks, about your shirt, did you know that pi equals 80 in ancient Greek number system? I did not know that. To be honest, I'm not really sure that I understand the comment, because maybe an 8 is just like the numeral 8 just means a 3 in Greek, in the ancient Greek system. I just don't know. I do know that the Bible kind of infers that the ratio of the circumference to the diameter of a circle is just 3. One could say that it's just an approximation, but yeah, there's a whole history about how the world got better and better at approximating pi as history went on. And by the way, do you like my shirt? That was a gift from a friend for the last Pi Day. Okay, and I'm still waiting. Okay, here we go. New to roulette, but based on those, what's the best unit betting strategy to at least grind down? So somebody's asking about roulette and the best strategy to kill time. So let's say that you must play roulette and you want to keep your risk as low as possible. Like let's say that it's some kind of a promotion that you're on. Then I would not directly make opposite bets like red and black, but there are ways of kind of scattering your bets around the table where a lot of the numbers cancel each other out. It's not going to be totally risk-free. Maybe I will make an Ask the Wizard question out of this in my next column. But yeah, I would try to make combinations of bets where some of the numbers cancel each other out to lower your risk. And okay, finally back to Charlie Brown. Again, the question was true or false, Charlie Brown is bald. And the answer is false. He actually has very light blonde hair. And I know it doesn't look that way in the comic strip, but that's just what Charles Schulz says, is he just has very light colored hair. So let's go on to the next Peanuts question. What is the last name of Linus and Lucy? So you guys chew on that. And by the way, as usual, there's no searching. And you're all on the honor system here. I want you to just be honest and pretend like you're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and no lifelines. Just give it your best shot. Okay. Okay, so somebody says, I understand that betting systems don't work, but what is the best way to press my winnings? Okay, so let's say that that it is your goal to win a lot with a little bit of money. For example, let's say that you bring $200 to the table and you want to turn it into 2,000 or go bust trying. Then what you should do is just keep parlaying your winnings until you get to your winning goal. Time is the enemy of the player, so the less time that you're sitting there playing, the greater your chances are of achieving whatever your winning goal is. And it might be a little bit hard to take, just betting huge amounts of money. But trust me, your chances of achieving a big goal is much better by just shoving it out there, going all in, as opposed to trying to grind up, because grinding up is really hard. The math wants to grind you down. Okay, moving right along here. Someone asked about the royal game of Ur. I'm not familiar with it, so I won't read on. Anne mentions that LA casinos don't charge the $1 or any amount on the baccarat bets. I did not know that. Interesting. Okay, someone asks, if I'm playing at a $10, 3, 4, or 5 times odds craps table, but I'm uncomfortable having to put up the $170 in action all at once, would I still get the house edge under 1% if I just play single odds? I know this answer is on my website, but so the house advantage is 1.41%. And if you take single odds, in general, on average, you're going to have 1.67 units on the table. So 1.41 divided by 1.67. So yeah, the house edge there is 0.84% if you take just single odds. Yeah, so there you go. Sorry about that. Okay, moving right along. Okay, Jack Ace is the first person to get my Peanuts question right. The last name of Linus and Lucy is Van Pelt. Good job, Jack Ace. The next Peanuts question is, what is the name of Linus and Lucy's brother who came along towards the end of the series? So you guys chew on that. Somebody asked, what's your favorite game show? It's no big secret that I'm a game show fan. The one I certainly watch the most is Jeopardy, but because you get like so many questions in a short period of time. But I also enjoy the ones that might be a little bit more fun, like Friend or Foe, or The Weakest Link. So I can't say that I have one that is like far and above better than the others. So I'll just say that in general, I like the trivia ones. And if you put a gun to my head, then yeah, I'll go with Jeopardy, because shall we say that's just what you see me watching. And not just is it trivia, but there's also a lot of strategy in terms of the betting that, of course, I find very interesting. So there you go with that. Someone asked me high card flush versus 3-card poker. I don't know that I have ever actually played high card flush. And I've only played 3-card poker when I was hole carding. But if forced, I would just go with whichever game had the lower element of risk. And to be honest, I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. Well, it looks like I'm all caught up here. Let me have a look at the Wizard of Vegas questions. And I do remember as I'm looking them up that I checked this morning. Okay, well, I'm there now anyway. Okay. Odious Gambit asks, say you had a chance to participate in an advantage play that used multiple other players' cards with their permission. Say it was very lucrative and definitely not illegal. Would you have any qualms about participating? Very good question. I do kind of like these ethical questions where there might be there's often gray areas in terms of what's cheating and what's not, what's just breaking a house rule. I will say that I used to have other players pick up my free play, and I did not have any qualms about that morally. And I still wouldn't. I do think that it's part of the cat and mouse game that if the player who's picking up my free play gets caught, I'm probably going to they might take away my card from that player. He shouldn't give it up, but he might. And the casino might take retaliatory action against me. That would be their right. Again, I would file that under the cat and mouse game. So yeah, so basically I would not have a moral compunction to do that. I would need to look at how much money is involved, how much I am paying or getting paid to do this, and things like that. But I have never picked up free play for another player. It's just because my time is worth something, and it's just not worth the trouble for me because I live way out on the west side of Las Vegas, and it's a big hassle for me to go anywhere on the strip or downtown to do that. So I hope you understood my answer to that one. Let's see. Yes, Notes has the name of Linus and Lucy's younger brother, which is Rerun. Okay, here's the next question. What is the name of the teacher that is often heard going, but never seen in the Peanuts TV specials? So there you go. You guys work on that. And let's see if there's any other Wizard of Vegas questions. Okay, Geomir made a really good comment. In the last show, Heather incorrectly claimed that the casinos increased the W2G threshold from $1,200 to $5,000. I was very skeptical of it at the time, but as Geomir correctly points out, and I did verify this, that is merely new legislation that is making its way through the system. It absolutely has not gone through and been signed into law yet. So I'm glad I had the chance to make that correction. Let's see what else we got. And I don't even know how to pronounce this, but a forum member asks if there are live stream transcripts. I think that we used to transcribe them, but we don't anymore. But you can always find them on YouTube. And but no, sorry, there's just not transcripts of them. Okay, it looks like that's all the Wizard of Vegas questions I had. Let's go back to the peanut gallery. So Yes Notes is correct. The name of the teacher is Miss Othmar. Very good. Another point to you. And here's your next question. Which character had naturally curly hair? You guys chew on that, and let's go to another gambling question. So Bert Davis asks, hi, Michael, is Ultimate Texas table game a better option over video poker and craps? So he means Ultimate Texas Hold'em, which is a really good value. The element of risk, which is the amount you can expect to lose, to everything that you bet, including the raise, is only 0.5%. Now you can get under that in craps at full 3, 4, 5 times odds. So it's going to depend upon how much you bet on the odds and craps, and it's also going to depend on the video poker pay table. It's difficult to find pay tables anymore where the house advantage is under 0.5%. So, so I would say that craps and Ultimate Texas Hold'em are on par, depending upon the exact rules. And in most cases, Ultimate Texas Hold'em is going to be a better value than video poker, because video poker has just been declining in value for years. And I see 2 incorrect answers to the character with naturally curly hair. It is not Peppermint Patty, and it is not Sally. So to give you guys a little bit of hint, this particular character was a minor character, and she had an annoying habit that no matter what the conversation was, she would always try to turn it to her hair. And she would always bring up the point that her hair was naturally curly. So there's a little hint for you guys. Let's see what else you're asking me. So JR709 comments about the player's cards, and he says that it is against house rules. I absolutely don't dispute that. I'm sure any player club will say that it's against their rules to let another player use your card or to use another player's card. That's absolutely right. I respect their rule, and shall we say I respect it that it is a rule, and I respect it in the fact that if I break the rule that they're entitled to punish me. But again, I kind of view it as one of those things that's part of the cat and mouse game. Okay, let's see what else you guys got. Okay, Jack Ace. He asks, did you ever get your withdrawals honored from the Wixiplay online casino after exposing their crooked dice game? No, I did not. Good question. And for those who don't know what he's talking about, I love busting internet casinos for cheating. And the last time I did it was about a year ago, when somebody brought to my attention that this cryptocurrency casino called Wixiplay was cheating. And despite the fact that they had so-called provably fair gaming, they were still cheating. And I think that players were just not going through the hoops necessary to catch it. And they were not cheating all the time. I think they only cheated maybe about 5% of the time. But if they take 5% of winning bets and turn them into losing bets, that's terrible for the player. First my friend proved it to me that they were doing this, and then I recorded my play and showed how they were cheating me. And they threatened to sue me, and they said they would never honor that money. They said that did not have a legitimate account, that I broke the 2 accounts per household rule. And they did have a valid point there, because the guy who, when I said, okay, show me your evidence that they're cheating, he came over to my house and he showed me on my computer at my house them cheating him under his account. And then he left. So then I opened my own account, like, from the same IP address, and play there. And so I'm sure the casino noticed 2 different accounts being played from the same IP address. Now, I actually didn't break a rule, because I only played under my own account. It was somebody else who played one time at my house under his account, where he usually played at his own house. So yeah, there has not been any news on that for a long time. So that anyway, but I lost about $500, but it was worth it to me to bust somebody for cheating. And by the way, if anybody ever has evidence of anybody cheating at any game, please bring it to my attention. Like I said, I love exposing cheaters for who they are, and I applaud anybody who does that. Now, your evidence has to be good evidence. I need to see numbers. I cannot just hear an adjective-laden rant about how much money you lost. No, I need to see your theory about how they're cheating and the evidence that supports it. And I need numbers, not adjectives. So that's my question to that. And so I'm still looking for the person with naturally curly hair. And I am not seeing the right answer. Wait, let me go scroll down further. Here we go. Yes Notes gets another point. The answer is Frida. So good job. Another point to One Notes. You are clearing the board with the peanuts. So here's the next one. What did Charlie Brown's father do for a living? You guys chew on that. And let's see what else you got for me. Do you know developing or currently usable ways to count? So somebody asked about counting Spanish 21. Let me show you what I got on that. Where is that book? I know I have a book on that here. My books are all out of order. Don't leave, I'm still looking for the book. Yay, here it is. Okay. This is the ultimate authority on counting Spanish 21, or pontoon as it's known in Australia. It's by Katarina Walker, rest in peace. And it's a whole book about it. So it's really well done. It's a very mathematically respectable book. I highly recommend it. And Spanish 21 is a good game to count because casinos do not suspect it as much as conventional blackjack. Now, it is not mathematically as valuable to count as regular blackjack, but again, what you get in the less heat is worth it. So there you go. That's your answer to that one. Okay, Austin asked why.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, Heather's back. Yay, welcome back.
Sorry about that. My power went out, so that was fun.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad this is still going.
I've just been talking a mile a minute here.
Do you want me to
ask? So Heather, you can go back to screening the questions. Can you look for a question that Austin asked?
Austin.
He's saying, why aren't you answering my questions?
Sometimes, Austin, with the way that the comments come up, it comes up really fast and we don't see it and we don't get all the comments. It's nothing against you or anybody else. It's just the way that the program works. So we are not doing it like purposely. It is not you. It's us. It's not you.
I will say that we don't necessarily answer every single question. If a question is really limited in nature, and I think only the asker would care about the response, then I'm going to give it a lesser priority. I give a higher priority to questions that I think everybody would find interesting.
Yeah, and then sometimes we just don't see them. Yep. Now, I am going to be going out of order today since my power went out and I left, and I have no idea what you've answered and what you haven't answered or what's going on. So if I ask you a question you've already covered, just please let me know.
Okay, so you see one about
not
10
from Austin.
The 10 from the top about Spanish 21. That was the last one I answered.
Okay.
And
We have one. We have one from Damien. I have recently been told that card counting is illegal. Is this really true? It seems odd to using your brain to beat a game illegal. What do you think?
It's not true. Um, it's just a house policy that they have the right to ask people to not play if they're counting, but it's definitely not illegal to count. Now, I can't speak for every single jurisdiction in the world, but I have never heard of one that where you could get arrested for card counting. It just would not make sense.
Right. It's one of those things where if the casino doesn't like you, they'll basically 86 you for trespassing because it's a private company.
Okay, so I see some answers to the last Peanuts question.
Oh, good.
So that one was, what does Charlie Brown's father do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a barber.
Ooh, a barber.
And I forgot who answered that one. But yes, so let's move on to the next Peanuts question.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And I am looking for Austin's question while we're doing that.
Okay, what was the name of the little red-haired girl?
Okay, so if you guys know that answer, put it in the chat. When you said that, I immediately thought of, I think it's Lucy who takes the football from Charlie Brown every single time, but she has blonde hair, right?
No, Lucy has dark hair.
Oh, she has dark hair. Okay.
And by the way, if a comparison to that came up in discussing the last Super Bowl, because there was a play where it looked like where the ball holder, what's the term for that?
Oh, you're asking me a football
Ice
question?
holder.
I have no idea.
Anyway, they were going to go for the point after the touchdown, and then he pulled the ball away, and then they suddenly did a 2-point conversion attempt. And I at first thought that it was a trick and a deliberate thing. But no, it turns out that at the very last second, the ball dropped, and it was clear that he couldn't get it up again before the kicker attempted to kick it. So on the spot, he turned it into a 2-point conversion attempt. But anyway, in discussions about that, I made that comparison to how Lucy would pull the ball away.
Gotcha. So while we're waiting for people to answer that trivia question, I looked for Austin's question. Austin, I can't see your question. I've looked twice. So do me a favor, type your question again in the chat and we will answer it. Until then, we have another one from SL. And SL says, how many hands does a video poker, like jacks or better game, take to hit a royal flush? Does it happen often? Does it happen once a year? What are your thoughts?
Well, if the player is playing optimal strategy, they come along about between once in 40,000 and once in 45,000 hands. But the waiting period between royals is completely random. It follows the exponential distribution. So video poker, much like games like Roulette, has a memoryless quality. The machine never says, oh, I'm overdue to pay out a royal. Let's pay one out. No. The odds in video poker are entirely natural and dictated by the probabilities of the cards and the strategy that the player should be following.
Now, how many video poker hands do you think occurs in a 24-hour period?
Well, I would say a decently fast player can play 1,000 hands an hour. And so a really fast player could play 24,000 in an hour.
Okay, that's good to know. And then I don't see any answers to the trivia question. Should we do another casino question while we wait?
Yeah, there seems to be kind of a lag in the feedback today. But yeah,
I don't know what it is. The forces are conspiring against us. You know what? I'm not going to go into it. Okay. We have a question from Austin. We got Austin's question. Austin says, Have you heard of a single deck video blackjack game at the Strat with a 0.03% house edge? There's a website that claims it's there.
Never heard of it.
I don't know either.
Yeah. I might look for it the next time I'm there if you want to give me any more information about it. But I've not heard anything remotely like this.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't see any answers to the trivia question. Should we give the answer to the audience?
There seems to be like a solid minute delay.
Okay, let's do another question. Again, we are going out of order for questions just because life happens. I hope you don't mind if I take a question. So Bert says, Heather, what is a nice way to tell a dealer that they've made a mistake? Don't hit them. First thing, don't yell at them. Don't spit at them. Don't throw ashtrays at them. Yes, I've had
slap them in the face.
Don't slap them in the face. I've had most of those happen to me as a dealer. Don't do that. No, it's just one of those things where you're just a considerate human being, and you're like, hey, just to let you know, the last hand I had 17, or last hand I had 18, you had 17, but you took my money. I just want to let you know that was a mistake. Don't, accuse them. Don't do anything like that. Just state it as a fact. And then the dealer will call over the floor supervisor, and then they'll rectify the mistake.
Yep. To that, I would add, try to do it before the cards are swept away.
Yes, completely. Because that's going to be a more annoying for the dealer and the floor supervisor if they have to pull the cards out completely. Mm-hmm. As soon as you realize you've made it.
And by the way, a good way to cause a big fight at the table is to try to rectify a mistake that doesn't concern you, especially if it's to the disadvantage of another player.
Yeah. Or one other thing is if the dealer ends up paying you when they shouldn't have paid you, if the dealer ends up paying someone else if they shouldn't have paid someone else, especially if they paid someone else, I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, neither would I. It's because, I'm all in favor of an honest game, mm-hmm. but I also don't want a big conflict at the table. And so
if the casino made a mistake, that's their mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But
likewise, one time this happened to me where the dealer overpaid me, and I was about to point it out, but another player pointed it out before I could. But since I was going to point it out anyway, that didn't bother me. But but not that it was asked, but I think it's the right thing to do. That if the dealer makes a mistake in your favor, to point it out. I'm sure most players would disagree with me on that. Right. I just think it's the right thing to do.
Morally speaking, yes.
Morally speaking.
We have an answer to the trivia question. Is it Wendy, the red-haired girl?
Nope.
That's not it. Okay, so you guys still have a chance. If you guys know, put it in the chat. And our next question comes from Eric. How legit is an 86 if the casino doesn't have your real name? Ooh.
I would, that's happened to me.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I would say that 86ing is really just an informal, it's very informal to begin with, whether they know your name or not. So there's nothing official about it. That's just when somebody informally says, don't play here anymore. That happened to me at the El Cortez a long time ago. And by the way, I've played there since many times. Let me see how this, so it's not, shall we say, legitimate at all. It's just an informal warning is how I would put it.
Yeah. And I think when the security guard takes the player or anyone, they'll ask for identification. And you have to make sure I'm right on this because I'm not sure. If they ask for identification, you don't have to give it to them. Am I
That's
correct on
absolutely
that?
right.
Okay.
Only a law enforcement officer has the
Yes.
right to demand ID. So
But security does have the right to detain you.
only if they caught you in the act of committing a crime
Yeah.
and
And
for the
it's,
purpose of waiting for the police to get there.
yeah, for a reasonable amount of time, but they don't specify a reasonable amount of time.
Right, but this is something that casino security violates a lot.
Yeah.
So know your rights. If you are doing something that just breaks a casino rule, not a law, like using other players' cards, like we were talking about before, and casino security, if they ask for your ID or they say something like "follow us to the back room," say no on both counts and just
Don't go
say,
to the
I
back
wish to
room.
leave. And if they try to stop you, you say, you have no legal right to stop me. I wish to leave and get out of my way.
Yep.
And if they detain you against your will, then you will have the grounds of a lawsuit. You may not win it, um, but you will certainly have justifiable grounds, and I think you should win.
Mm.
A friend of mine, and since he writes about this, I can say this, is he had a case like this in at a New York casino where they detained him against his will, and then he sued them and he lost. And I think it's because the jury felt that the casino security had a reasonable. It was reasonable for them to think that he broke a law. Um, but I absolutely hoped that my friend would win, and he absolutely had a legitimate lawsuit. But just because a lawsuit is legitimate doesn't mean you win, and and it doesn't mean that you'll lose if it's illegitimate. The world is not a perfect place.
Nope, not at all. So I don't see the answer to your trivia question. Should we give people the answer?
Yes. So the answer of the name of the little red-haired girl is Heather.
What, seriously?
Yep, absolutely.
I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know her name. I didn't know that any of the characters' names had my name in there.
Yes, I think this came out in one of the latter cartoons.
Oh.
Like an animated one. Well, I guess they're all animated, like a live animation one. But she did get a name, and Charlie Brown finally got up the nerve to talk to her, and they were friends. But then, as is expected, she dumped Charlie Brown.
Oh, poor Charlie Brown.
Yeah, but
It's,
anyway,
it's not you, it's me, I swear.
yeah. So I have an errand to do after the show, so we have to end it on time today.
Okay, so when is the next time we're going to do a live stream?
Okay, let me find my calendar under all this junk. It's tax time, so I especially have a lot of paperwork on my desk.
Yeah, I just sent my paperwork to the tax person. Fun. That was a day-long thing.
I don't mind paying taxes. As a business owner, I just find it objectionable, the complexity of it all. I mean, it takes at least a solid day out of my life every year to do my taxes, and so many people could say the same thing. And this is a day that everybody could be producing a valuable service to society somehow. But anyway, let's not get off on that rant. Okay, so today is the last day of March. And so how about, okay, I'm going to be out of town that day.
Where are you going? Anywhere fun?
April 21st. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Where are you going? Anywhere fun?
I am going to Hawaii.
I am so jealous. We are going to you have to post pictures on social media so we could see this.
You got it.
Good.
Um,
Awesome.
So I'll try to take some that don't have the family in them.
Maybe
So
some
I
on
don't
a
want to say which
surfboard.
island at this time, but I will share pictures with you guys on the next live stream. Again,
Looking
April
forward to that.
21st.
Awesome. Well, it was awesome doing this with you as always. And thank you guys so much for joining us. And we will see you again next time.
Okay, thanks, Heather, and thanks, audience, for all your questions and for participating.
Have a good one.
Okay, bye.
Bye.